Not everybody comes from a football family like you do. What has he meant to you as far as getting a job? You're a year in now, over a year, so you're well acclimated. But what's he meant to your development?
Um, Ever since I was a little kid, I really wanted to play football. I went to the CFL games, but really the main person that's motivated me is my mom and my brothers. Um, After he played in Canada, I kind of moved back and kind of split ways. But yeah, my mom's probably my biggest motivator, though, for sure.
And you're kind of you and Nico, at least from the outside perception, with people speculating on Keegan's health and speculating on Brody's health.
Mhm.
You guys kind of are of utmost importance to stay healthy. Is it hard to? I mean, do you even think about that when you're playing, or do you just have to just go all in and just say, you know what, this is football, things happen?
Yeah, you can't really think about that at all. I mean, the second doubt creeps into your mind, that's when like your confidence goes down. You start overthinking. So I think we really just have the mindset of whoever's ready is ready, and whether that's having some young guys step up, just getting them ready, being the best leader I can, Nico being the best leader he can to make sure all the guys in the room are ready.
And do you? I mean, you obviously seem willing to factor into the return game. That's a special skill set. Charlie had it. Amir had it. Um, what have you learned maybe from past Hawkeyes who have excelled? Because again, it's a very specific skill set.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of film. Tim Dwight is one of my favorite returners I've watched. I was behind Charlie. I was like a 2 or 3 behind Charlie last year. I asked for advice from him the other day. I went to Lathan North, so I'm close with Darren Sproles. So I actually just hit text him yesterday, asked him for advice. So this is something I've really been working at, studying, and I'm just really excited to get this opportunity to be in this position. But hopefully, I can hopefully win.
Is there anybody, in the last 10 years that you compare yourself to at the college level? I mean, from a size perspective, you're not the tallest receiver, but Rondale Moore wasn't the tallest
Yeah.
receiver. I compared you to, potentially being able to emulate some of what Rondale did. Is he a guy, or is there someone else that you kind of want to emulate?
There's a few. That's funny you said. I always try to find, like when I see a guy drafted, I find like the shortest guys or guys that are close to my height, like Rondale Moore, Kadarius Toney for the Giants. Trying to name a few. Tank Dell from Houston.
Who's the guy for the Cowboys and Beasley?
Cole Beasley, like Nick Edelman, not Nick, Julian Edelman, sorry. Yeah, I always watch film from those guys and just see like what I can take from their game because, I mean, they're successful in the pros, college level. So I just try to take stuff from their game and see what they do.
And final question, appreciate you taking the time, but last year you showed on tape your willingness, even though maybe you're considered undersized by some, your willingness to take contact. Do you pride yourself on kind of having that chip because you're a bit undersized? Look, I'm going to be just as physical as Joe Blow over here.
For sure. When I step between those lines, I don't really think about it. I kind of use it as motivation, if you will. Like I don't care how big you are, how strong you're. Like I'm gonna lower my shoulders and put it down. I know a lot of people say that like that's not good. And save your body and save years on your life. That's Cope's favorite motto. But like when I'm out there, I really like don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it, Arland. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again after the season and getting to analyze everything over the course of a year, what went well and what we could have done a little bit better. It's interesting to see both of our perspectives and just the way that we grow and be like, man, I can't believe I did that on that play. And I feel like getting a little bit better in every little situation like that is what's going to pay off in the long run.
Obviously, offensively, the stats were great last year. How much do you dwell on that and, look for that for areas of improvement versus trying to turn the page, new season, new year?
To your point about turning the page, I mean, you can't dwell on the past. You have to acknowledge it once the game is over, a practice is over. It's going to hit the film and look back at some of those things you didn't do so well. So using that as fuel, I guess, for the 2022 season is something that's been in the back of our mind. But we have high expectations for ourselves, whether we're coming off of a good year or a bad year, anything in between. So we're excited and have high expectations for ourselves.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Good
Steve.
to see you.
Good to see you.
Sam, good to meet you. Corey, my name.
I'm Sam.
Good to meet you. We do a post-game show with Coach Don Patterson. He told me a story. So he worked with Hayden Fry. He was his offensive coordinator in the 90s. And he made a comparison between you and Marv Cook.
Okay.
And I'm just curious, do you know Marv, and have you looked at Marv's tape? Obviously, Kirk Ferentz is well familiar with Marv Cook. Do you know about Marv Cook?
I know he wore 84.
Yep.
I have met Marv, and I also played with his son Drew. Drew
Right.
was a fifth year when I was a true
Okay.
freshman, and I got to know Drew quite well over I guess he was only here for about 6 months when I was a freshman, but me and Drew still talk to this day, and I know Marv fairly well, I'd say, and I honestly, I haven't seen any of the tape from Marv. That almost seems like ancient history to the 80s.
Yeah.
I was born in 2001, so I don't look that far back in the
Right.
film boxes every once in a while, but I do take a peek at some Dallas Clark film, C.J. Fedorowicz, Brandon Myers, Tony Moyaki, all those old heads. So it's cool to watch all those old guys film.
When I watch you play, I see a lot of similarities between you and T.J. Hawkinson, with your ability to, maybe you're not the fastest guy in the world, but your physicality at the position, and then your ability to actually become running back, right? You're a ball carrier when you get the ball.
But TJ was my official host,
Okay.
and it was kind of cool to see him late in the process and late in his career here, and just getting to pick his brain a little bit about it. And he's also came back every once in a while, and I get to pick his brain too, which is cool.
And Steven Stilianos, he's a big guy. What have you seen from him, and where do you see him making an impact? What's he done so far in fall camp that's been impressed you?
I think like Steve and a lot of the tight ends have something to prove, and I feel like they're doing really well. And the expectations that we have as a room, as an offense, as a team, they're extremely high, and trying to uphold those expectations and just do it to the best of our ability is something that Steve's doing and everybody.
And the two freshmen obviously proven themselves at the high school level to be really good pass catchers. I know Addison's a bit bigger than Kale, but what's your outlook on those guys?
Yeah, I think they both will be. They're extremely capable, and that jump from high school to college is really high. And we try to mitigate the process, or not mitigate, but just make it easier for those guys. I remember how I felt when I was a freshman and taking that leap from high school to college.
Right.
And it's a lot for anybody. So we just try to be there for those young guys and try to help them with every step of the way.
Better tight end group: Jimmy Graham, David Njoku, Jeremy Shockey, or Noah Fant, George Kittle, T.J. Hawkinson.
Come on now.
Unbiased perspective as best you can there. I didn't even add Greg Olson. I guess I just had a tight end debate last night with a Miami guy, and so we were comparing the best of the best from each school, and it's pretty close to the top. Obviously, University of Iowa was clearly tight end you the last 5 years.
Right.
Have you thought much about that? Have you ever gotten into debates with anybody from Miami?
I mean, I don't know any of those guys personally at the University of Miami. Maybe one day I'll be in the debate
once you get to the league,
guys.
you'll have some of those debates.
Maybe. But obviously, I'm going to have bias here and
Yeah.
roll with all those guys. 2 first-round draft picks, highest paid tight end in the league, a lot of success in college and in the league. So
All right. Appreciate it, Sam. Thank you, sir.
I mean, when someone leaves, it just creates more opportunities for everyone else. We've got 2 younger guys that played a lot last year who are ready for the challenge of not just being on the field, but being a leader in the receiver room. And you can see that they're up for the challenge. And then the younger guys, the freshmen coming in, they've been busting their ass out here every single day. Excuse me for swearing, it just came out a little bit. Yeah, but I'm excited to see what they can do this year.
I know you guys are a little banged up right now.
Yeah.
How's the outlook for you guys as a whole? How do you feel in the room?
I'm pretty optimistic for us this year, which I've always been, but I'm trying to be very positive in everything that I do this year, and I feel like last year sometimes I let myself go a little bit and get negative, but this year I'm all in, and I think all the other receivers are all in, not just on our individual success, but on the team as a whole, which is something we definitely have to work on. You know, it's not just how many catches am I going to get every single game, or am I going to score a touchdown this game, but putting your all out there every single play, and even if that means catching no balls and blocking every play and leaving your all out there, then I feel like that's what we're bought in on this year.
What areas have you seen improvement from? Arland? Because again, last year it just kind of seemed like, for the most part, he was always trying to creative ways. And I know he's voiced the desire to maybe be used in a more traditional way. Have you seen him take some steps maybe in that direction?
Oh, definitely. I mean, Arlen's a freaking beast, man. Every single day he's bringing it. Just when you're out there with someone like Arlen, it just makes you want to work harder, you know? He's making like crazy catches, over the shoulder catches today. He made one like toe tapping over the shoulder on the sideline. And then on some plays, you're out there to like get the attention of a defensive player so that someone else could get open. And whenever it's me trying to get the attention for someone, especially when it's Arlen, like I have no problem doing that because he's just someone you want to go out there and play with. He's a leader, and I'm super excited for Arlen. Great too.
What's your on-field relationship like with Spencer? How's he doing this fall camp?
I mean, he's playing real good this fall camp. He's locked in. It's his senior year, you know. So all this experience the past couple years is obviously gaining every single year. I mean, me and Spencer have been living together for like the past 4 years, so our chemistry has been pretty good all the time, on and off the field. Especially when we're like watching film, he's always letting me know what he thinks. So I'm trying to take in as much information as I possibly can from him, so I could be in those spots where he thinks I'm going to be, so we can have the best offense possible.
Kirk has said that he's struggled at times. It might be an overthinking, trying to do a little too much. As somebody who lives with him, is that something you see even in his kind of in his daily routine? And is there ways that can, you know, somebody can help the coaching staff, or you guys, or is the quarterback can kind of help with that mental stuff that might kind of plague him at times?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like as an athlete, all athletes overthink stuff all the time. Like a receiver, you drop the ball, you're sitting there overthinking. A quarterback, they miss a read, they're probably overthinking. But once you get past like those moments of negative energy, like pushing the negative energy out and just having in all the positive energy to have a positive outcome. You know what I'm trying to say? So, I mean, I feel like everyone could just work on not being in your head.
With the way that last season kind of ended, the run up to it was so strong, and then it did end up a little flat. Is there an element of unfinished business starting to mindset at this point, or how are you guys approaching the season in that place?
Not really unfinished business, but it's a new team this year, so we have new goals. And that group of people that was on our field last year will never be on the group of field together ever again. And this group of people that's on the field right now is the only time this group of people will be on the field together all at once. So we're all just trying to put everything we can onto the field and work as hard as we can to have the best possible season that we can.
Thank you.
Nico, what specific advancement have you seen from Spencer? Certain area that he has really taken his steps in spring?
To be completely honest, I don't really have an answer for you. I mean, I'm really just focused on like how I can improve every single day. And if I was trying to figure out what Spencer's doing wrong, that I feel like we would, or what Spencer is working to improve, I feel like we would have a problem because I know absolutely jack about the quarterback position. So really, I know he's just out here working as hard as he possibly can every single day, and he's always done that. He's one of the smartest guys I know, and he's one of the hardest workers that I know. So I'm excited for what he's going to do this fall.
How often do you go on YouTube and watch Gus Johnson's call of the Penn State pass? How many times has that been played on your phone?
Probably too many times to share. It's a little embarrassing. I don't know. I got 4 little cousins, right? All boys, so they all play football. Like they're big time sports guys, and like they just like YouTube search it. They don't even like know. Some of them don't know how to like spell yet, so they just say it into the remote and stuff like that. But they could all like recite Gus Johnson, like the whole entire thing. I'll go home and they'll like recite it for me like out of nowhere. It's pretty funny. It's cool though.
Do you guys know who's calling the game beforehand? Like, do you know, hey, it's Fox, so it's probably Gus and Joel Klatt? Like, is that you even think about that before the game?
I think a little bit for that game, right? What was it? Was it like
the Penn State game?
Was it College Game Day or?
Big noon.
It was big noon kickoff.
It was big noon kickoff. Yeah, I think I remember people saying like Reggie Bush was going to be outside of like the Capitol or something. So maybe a little bit. I try not to think about it, because then you're in your own head and not just playing the game. But yeah, that was a cool game.
How do you work on specifically on receiver separation? I know that's a loaded question because there's a lot that goes into it, and I was asking Kelton the same question.
I've always thought of myself as, I'm not the biggest guy or the fastest guy or the strongest guy out there, so I have to be like perfect with my route running, and so that's what I try to do, especially if it's man coverage, try and get the DB to go one way and then me go the other. And really, if you stick to what Cope is teaching you and running routes like Cope teaches to run, then you're most likely going to be open. But when you forget about that and you're, for example, like one thing that I have to work on is holding my line and like vertical routes, right? So if you're running a vertical and the DB's like got his hand on your hip and he's pushing you and you're fading, you want to catch the ball over this shoulder so the DB's in here, right? Protect yourself from the ball. So the only way he could get to the ball is through you and make a penalty. Right. But if you're fading and the ball is going to be in here and the DB's going to swipe down, it's an easy incompletion, So just working on stuff like that and remembering your fundamentals and like the little details is what will take you over the edge.
How much of that is physicality? Is that an aspect of it? Stay on your line.
I mean, really anyone could. I feel like if you threw my grandmother on the field out here and told her to run in a straight line, she could run in a straight line. But when you turn your head, right, you're a human being. So when you turn your head, your body like naturally starts to drift a little bit. So just like getting that muscle memory down of keeping your head this way and running straight and just practice the little details over and over, you'll start to get better at it.
Thanks, Nico. Appreciate it.